How's it going, Transformers? Listen, we are in the presence of a doctor and we're coming to get healed today with knowledge and gems. We have Dr. Alexiou Hallmon, social activist, educator, and Black entrepreneur. Help me welcome my guest, Dr. Alexiou. How's it going, Dr. Alexiou? I'm Alexiou Gibson. I am so happy to be in your presence today to hear all about your story, to share it with our Transformers so that they can take gems from you, your incredible story, and be inspired themselves. So welcome to our transformation series.
Thank you. I'm so elated to be here. I'm in front of a rock star. So you're coming to learn from me. I'm also coming to learn from you.
All right. Well, let's just jump straight into it. I can't wait to hear your story. Okay. Can you describe any unexpected outcomes that emerged from your transformative experience of becoming an educator, activist, and entrepreneur?
Yes. I've had many transformational experiences, but the biggest transformation has happened within myself. Being on the ground doing the work, none of that is possible without doing the self-work. I've spent so many years dedicated to my own well-being, elevating my own consciousness. So as I go out and do the work, when I'm working with business owners, when I'm working with leaders in the city of Atlanta, I'm always thinking about what is the collective consciousness for our people? How do we become well? How do we become economically liberated? That work and those two guiding questions have led to my greatest transformation. So I'm constantly evolving, constantly asking myself hard questions, constantly looking at my work and saying, is this the work? Is this what you should be doing? And I don't wait for my own answer. I go to the experience of entrepreneurs. I hear from them.
Yes.
Yeah, and they tell me like this is the work, this is the path.
Yes. So what do you find that their biggest hurdles are, or the complaints or roadblocks you hear a lot of Black entrepreneurs bring up to you?
You know, I think what's unique to our journeys is that sense of loneliness. When you are an entrepreneur and you're building, you feel that there's this massive community out there just waiting to flood you with support.
Yeah.
And so many entrepreneurs, especially when you're a first generation, you're doing something everyone else said you are crazy to do. Yes. And so you feel alone. And so what I hear from entrepreneurs is a sense of loneliness. Yeah. And that's why I started the Village Market. That's why I started my nonprofit, Our Village United, because I wanted to encapsulate entrepreneurs with the village. Yes. I think that's what you needed. Yeah. That's what I needed. And I think that's our solution.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. As a first generation entrepreneur myself, the question I find myself asking my mentors a lot is, what group can I join? What mastermind can I go to? What conferences should I be going to? And I get the same answer, like, you're past all of that. You really just have to find a needle in a haystack and another entrepreneur that is going through the same thing you're going. And to your point, it's like, where are they? It's like you feel alone. You wake up every day and you're doing all the right things and you're just hoping that you're moving in the right direction, but you know you have to keep moving to keep the show going. So that's absolutely true, and I feel that every day. Yes, so that's great. What is one specific strategy that you believe contributed to your overall success?
My work ethic, my clarity of mind, my ability to set intentions. I don't do anything, not even sit for this interview, without setting intentions of what my outcomes should be and what I hope for myself. Yes. And that level, pairing intentionality with work ethic, it is really hard to outwork somebody that know what their purpose is. Yeah. And so I'm so grateful to know what my purpose is, and I wake up every morning pushing, not just pushing to exist, but pushing to be excellent, pushing to shift the narrative. I'm dedicated and I am unwavering to what I see in my mind. Yes. But that intentionality and work ethic, I think that's been my greatest pairing, and I'm grateful to be able to have that level of download, that I got the hustle, the grit, but also the intentionality to know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and who I'm doing it for.
Oh, that's great. So it sounds like strategy is one of your strong points. You hear about the type A, B, C, D personality traits, and a mentor always taught me that a great leader is a great balance of all four. Mm-hmm. Even though you may have a dominant trait, my dominant trait is strategy as well. where I won't move until I feel like it's perfect, it's right, and we've gone through every single scenario to make sure that it'll be successful. So hearing you say that just kind of reminded me of that whole integrity, wheel of integrity, where everything aligns and hits that bullseye. Whenever you do move, you move with intention, purpose, and you hit your target most of the time. So that's great.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that have helped me, I remember being a perfectionist. I'm so happy I divorced her. Perfectionism isolates us and stifles us too. I remember the times that I would hold on to an idea too long because I wanted it to be so perfectly baked. I think my biggest awakening is not perfectionism that I'm pursuing, it is purpose, it's good intentions. It's also not skipping any level of excellence that's required to show up and do good work. And so I'm happy, but I do remember the times though, when I was incredibly hard on myself, when I missed celebrating big moments because I could think about that one thing that wasn't exactly the way that I wanted to be. So I'm hoping other founders don't miss their big moments due to perfectionism, that we can celebrate every milestone, every incremental level of growth.
Wow, that's great. That's beautiful. Can you share with us a transformative moment in your life that significantly changed your perspective or path?
Yes. And this is more so a painful experience. My mother died a couple years ago. She had a battle with lupus and breast cancer. And seeing her fight for her life was one of the most inspiring things I have ever seen. This little lady, 5-foot frame, 5'4", Mississippi strong. She was so self-determined that she was going to live as long as she could. But as the sun began to set on her life, I began to have this own internal knowing that time really does expire. My mother was only 50 years old when she died. And so I looked at her and I saw so many more gifts that wouldn't live because she was going to transition. And so that transition for me, that transformational moment, is to know that we really only have this moment and we can only hope for the next moment. And if the time comes and we transition, I want to make sure that I leave here empty. I don't want any gifts to be left inside of me. I don't want anybody wondering, did I do everything that I could do? I'm going to leave here with nothing left to give. And so the only thing that could be left said is job well done. And I'm grateful that my mother allowed me to have a window in her own soul, that I got to have this experience, not just with being her daughter, but I got to have an experience with being her friend. And we had conversations woman to woman. But I do know that people die at 50. Yeah. I know that people die at 30. And knowing that now, and of course I've always known that, but it's different when you live it. And I know that if she had any control over the outcome of her life, she would have asked to live longer. Yeah. But not just live longer, she would ask to be healthy.
Yes, I understand. I just recently lost my grandmother too, and it set a fire under me as well. To like now I have to carry the whole family, I have to make sure that we're moving and executing. And I could imagine that helps that perfectionist to go out the window so you can get more done and execute faster, because like you said, time isn't always on our side. So that was a lesson that I learned too, and I think it's an important one, that sometimes we can overthink things or be fearful to jump and take a chance on an idea that we've had for years, and then you feel that kind of energy and pain and witness that in real life, and it just sets a fire on you that, hey, like you said, I'm going to leave here empty and I'm going to do everything I said I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest gift you can give back to your mother, who I know is blessing you and protecting you every day. Just gained an ancestor, a guardian angel, and that's how I try to look at it as well, and just move in intention. So that's great.
Yeah, that's the way that that's the way I see it. I feel like we have mighty ancestors surrounding us. Yes. So I really walk through life like I am unstoppable because I know who protects me. I know who watches over me. Yeah. And for entrepreneurs and founders who suffered a loss, I really want us to know that we are always surrounded, that energy does not die. It is simply transformed. And if we can reuse that energy and make it work for our good, I don't think anything can stop us.
Yes. What's the biggest way that you feel that you can honor your ancestors and everyone that poured and instilled and made you who you are today as a woman?
To live a life in purpose, to care about my people, to honor my temple, to make sure that what I put out in the world is something good, that I never forget the sacrifices that were made for me, that I never live so long in my bubble that I can't see outside of myself. Yes. I think what's so beautiful when you ascending on your journey and when you start doing well in life is it's beautiful to have a different lived experience. But it's also dangerous if you get this lived experience and you stay isolated in your own bubble. You start thinking this is the only world. I'm grateful in what I strive to do and how I always honor my ancestors to step outside of my bubble, to know that there is this life, this little bubble protection that I'm in, there's another lived experience for my cousins in Mississippi. Yes. And so me honoring every ancestor that has sacrificed their life for me, is that I am going to make sure that this life that I live is lived intentionally, that Black people will prosper because of the gift that God has given to my mind and the ingenuity that's inside of me and my belief in this beloved village. But that, to me, that is the greatest honor. Yes. And I'm going to continue to live a life in just, again, unwavering passion and pursuit that we can be liberated together collectively.
Yes. And it makes the whole Black community stronger. We already have a tremendous amount of buying power. And I've seen such a shift over this last 10 years of, being pro-Black and shopping Black. And, I know we're not where we want to be yet, but I love seeing the turnaround and us moving in the right direction. So you having a village and a store that really has 90% Black-owned items, like I can't wait to go and just shop, knowing that everything I'm buying is helping to put a Black kid through private school, maybe keep the lights on for a Black entrepreneur family. So I think that's really commendable of you. And speaking of Mississippi, I know you started in education and now you're in entrepreneurship. What was that like, going to school for one thing and then transitioning completely to a whole nother ball game?
It may have been a bit of insanity. Yeah. I just know all these degrees I was dedicated to being, I wanted to transform the education world. Yes. And so I remember when I called my dad and I was like, so I'm gonna leave my job. Now, my dad said, no, you're too smart for that. And I appreciated him being so honest, and I do remember chuckling because I knew what he was gonna say. But I told him that you trained me. Both of my parents, y'all trained me to know when life has called me to another yes and to not be afraid of that. So I asked him to just give me a couple months and that I would still be teaching, but my classroom would look different. And I couldn't explain to him fully what that vision was, but I just told him that I know that I got a spiritual download and that this download that I have is going to be some of the greatest life work that I do. And I think when you start talking to somebody like that, they're kind of scared to say what you're talking about. Yeah. So my dad just got quiet, and I was like, oh, I got him. Yes. And yeah, I got him, and I started to build the village market. But I missed my students. Yeah. I remember my first classrooms in the Mississippi Delta. Those are still some of the best years of my life. Yes. I don't think I knew how to love anyone as deeply outside of my family as much as I love my students. Yes. That opened me in a way that led me to the person that I am now, to be able to love people, to love their dreams, to want to be tethered to their dreams, to want to be there on their worst day. I've buried students, but I've also gone to students' college graduations. Yes, yes. I've been there when students defended their dissertations, when their parents didn't have their GED. My mother had a GED. So I just know that it's just those years changed me, but those years prepared me for who I am now. But I remember that call with my dad, and I talked to him this morning, and he is not the type of man that says things like, oh, I'm proud of you. You can just see it in his eyes. Yes. You can see it with how long he holds his smile, that I know that he is proud. But this morning he said, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Now I had to mess with him a little. I was like, "Are you getting emotional on me?" But it was really sweet. But that let me know that I must be doing it right.
Absolutely, and it's so beautiful to see how the puzzle comes together, all the little moments and nuggets that you keep, because like you said, you learn how to love outside of your immediate family as strongly the same, and I believe that probably helps you to maintain relationship capital and really build long-lasting relationships in business, friendships everywhere, having that experience. You know, a similar story with me. I went to school for biomedical engineering, and I'm working for NASA on Curiosity rover project. And 8 months later, we're done, and the chief of technology comes into my office and says, "Hey, you know, you're the best intern we've ever had, and I hope I never see you here again."
Wow.
And she said, "You know, I believe that you can go out there and impact the world and not get stuck behind a desk like the rest of us. But math and science and physics is the only thing I had studied and everything I had prepared for." And I decided to take a stab at entrepreneurship, and my single mom was not happy. After bragging to all our Bahamian family, you know, my son's working for NASA, I come home and say, "Hey, I'm going to try network marketing. I'm going to try starting my own production and all this other stuff." And, you know, I heard the chatter, and it's like, "You're crazy. How do you go from working from NASA to this?" And it's like, now, you know, I talked to my mom, and she's like, "I'm so glad you didn't listen to me," you know, because now I'm first generation entrepreneur, and we're changing everything in our bloodline, changing everything that all the poverty we've had for generations. But more importantly, we've created 150 jobs for Black and brown people in our community, and we're only getting started. So it's almost like we were chosen to pick up those nuggets and learn those lessons, but then, you know, spread our wings and help people and do something much more on a large scale.
Absolutely.
So that's something we share in common. All right, how did your personal growth influence your relationships, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, my personal growth, and I think this is for everyone. When we personally evolve and we do the work, it allows us to be in better relationship with ourselves, but it allows us to be in better relationship with everyone else. My personal work helped me have the ability to see people, like to really see them, to operate in a high level of grace, to have emotional intelligence in the right time for empathy, and to know when to be empathetic and when to push. The time to talk and when time to just be quiet. The time to be there for a friend and offer advice, and the time to listen to a friend and you just hold their hand. If I didn't do my own work, I probably would have missed those times and talked too much and advised too much rather than just being fully present. But I've been dedicated to my own self for a very long time. And that's just not making sure that I get up in the morning and work out. I'm intentional about what I eat. I'm intentional about my rest. I'm intentional about what I read and what I watch. I'm intentional about the friends that I have. I'm intentional about I don't allow negativity to come into my space unsolicited. Because of that, I feel very much so protected in life. I have good people around me. I have good people around me because I'm good to myself.
Yes.
And I really hope for founders, I want us to be in pursuit of having a multi-million-dollar companies. I want that for us. But what I want most for us is for us to be well.
Yes.
I want us to be good founders and good people, because if you pair being a good person to a person who is economically liberated, then the wealth doesn't just stop with you. It starts with you and it flows to everyone else.
Absolutely.
It flows to that 150 people that's
Yes.
on your team.
Yeah.
That is my North Star for our community. That is my North Star for myself. We must be well. We must be dedicated to the journey of doing the soul work and the heart work, so we can show up every day and be transformative and be transformers in our community.
Yes. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for being here today. I've learned so much from your incredible story, and just you've reassured so many things that I've gone through on this journey, just to remind myself that, you know, I'm not alone in this, and that it's worth the fight, and this is what it looks like when you actually win. So I hope our viewers are able to take that fire and that energy, that intention, that urgency, that everything you just shared with us, and apply it to their dreams and know that they can do it. And there's a store that's ready to take their Black-owned product whenever they decide to take that leap. So like, how can our viewers get in touch with you and keep up with your journey? And how can they support your brand, your product, and everything that you're working on?
So first, thank you for this opportunity. I find it to be an honor to be in your presence, and thank you for your dedication to this beautiful business that you've been able to build. But for those who want to be a part of the village, especially for entrepreneurs who are looking for technical assistance, grant dollars, go to villagemarket.com. And when you go to Village Market, you have opportunities to shop from some Black brands, but you also, if you are a founder and you are looking for your community, then make sure you sign up for our programs. We're in 25 different states now. We deployed close to $500,000 in grants in 2023, and we're dedicating $500,000 more this year. And we served a little bit shy of 600 founders across the country last year. So villagemarket.com, check us out.
All right, you heard that, Transformers. Check her out. This has been an incredible story. Thank you so much again for being with us for our transformation series. You're obviously a transformer yourself, and I know it's going to motivate so many other people to do the same thing. So, Doc, thank you so much again for being with us, and I look forward to seeing your journey and going shopping. Before I leave Atlanta, I'm going to hit up the village.
Spend a lot of money.
I will, I promise. I might need another luggage or two, but I'm definitely going to support. Thank you.